back once again to my show, Noble by Richa. Yet another episode with a brand new guest, and this time Noble is going global. And we have Aleksandar Tomic here with us, based in London, and he is definitely going to discuss a lot of questions which we have designed to talk. And additionally, he is going to tell us about his journey, his professional journey, and slight bit of his personal journey as well. So, welcome to the show, Alex.
Thank you, Richa. Pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you so much, Alex, for agreeing to come over the show. So our audience wants to know about you, like who is Alex, and about your professional journey. So can you please share some light about it?
Yes, so considering I have a lot of years, it can take a lot of time, but I will try to be very concise. So, in my college days, I was very interested in theology and philosophy, which is what I studied. But after that, I joined some small digital marketing agency, and this is where my, let's say, professional career in marketing actually starts. That happened, I guess, 15 and more years ago. So when it comes to aspirations, I can say that I'm still very much entertained in this whole career because of constant change, constant new stuff which are happening across the industry. So that is keeping me very, very occupied and very interested to date.
It's great to know about your journey. So, Alex, you were a part of a startup as well, which you have mentioned. So, can you share some challenges and some real facts about being a founder or a co-founder and being a part of startups?
Yeah, so basically, after some experience in very small digital marketing agency, I would say maybe 4 people in total. This is where my startup journey started. Very limited resources, but people who gathered around the same idea, having a lot of energy. When you are young, you like to try different stuff and try to let's say, push some boundaries when it comes to where you are, especially also in your current professional life. So we grew from four people to 20 something people, which is basically when we exited to a bigger company who acquired us. But ultimately, I would say that startup provides one uh, particular angle on all of the channels that we support or work on. And at the time, I would say that not having a proper HR department but growing without any control was the biggest challenge. And I cannot say that we fully resolved it, but that's the beauty of startup. Also, after that experience, I joined my first corporate, Samsung Electronics, where I was ultimately working for 4 years, and I grew to be regional head of digital, which is similar role to what I'm doing right now. Additional 4 years outside of Serbia, now in London, where I'm working in a role of head of digital channels. So I like to think that I'm very skilled to respond to those questions. Where is it better? Is it a startup? Is it a corpo? Or what are pros and cons and benefits of both of the worlds? And I like to think that there is a blend and there is a time and place for everyone. So everyone should experience both.
Okay, so what is the one message you want to give to the people who are, in corporate or who are planning to come to a startup and who are in their, mid age between 20 to 30? Like you mentioned that during those age, we want to do a lot of things, a lot of ideas we want to implement. So what is the one message you want to give to those people?
So it's very hard, to have the high ground and to advise people on stuff. So I will have a disclaimer here, meaning I'm sharing my personal experience and my personal take. I'm not saying that someone else should follow the same path, but I have this policy, which is basically not having a lot of regrets and trying to control your path, meaning that you stand behind every decision you make. So considering that I had, let's say, some aspirations to try the different side of things, I got to experience the both worlds, and I like to, how can I say, for this experience to reach more people, not through me, but through their own choice. Meaning, if you are in a corporate for a long time, and if you have any kind of aspirations that you would like to try, let's say, startup world as an employee, as a co-founder, as a shareholder, as an investor, why not? The same goes for someone who is in a startup. And also, I think that life gives you these different perspectives depending on where you are in life when it comes to your personal life and the overall journey. So I would say that it's a deep personal decision, but it's a very gratifying experience because then you have your own perspective, which is not something that you just read through online and debate.
Yeah, thank you so much for this message. And moving to the next question, Alex, I have noticed like now we all know that in this generation change and the technology and the AI, we have a lot of apps around us to manage and organize our work day in day out, whether it's personal or professional. Still, there are complaints from the people that we are not able to organize our time, we are not able to align our day in day out activity. So there is there's a lag even though the apps are there. So what is your point of view on this?
So I like to think that there are no easy solutions to some big life challenges. For example, those small books, 12 steps to this or to that. Same goes with apps that are there to help you be more productive or reduce your stress and so on. For someone that can work, that can contribute and complement to their how can I say, current activities or to help them organize their life better. But that's not the universal solution. What I think is happening globally, which is maybe different than what was happening in the past, is this, let's say, geopolitical situation where all of us, from breakfast and the morning coffee, we are exposed to different conflicts in the world, and we see how small we are and how we cannot actually affect a lot. We can share something on social media and have this, how can I say, idea that we did something meaningful. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying this is what causes a lot of these problems, which are then spilling over into work or professional life. And maybe in the past, I'm saying it once more, this is my personal take. Maybe in the past, when we were talking about, let's say, people being burning out on job, that was mainly because of job, because we had this generational shift. You had people working for 40 years in same company, let's say my father included. He found it very hard to understand why I'm constantly, let's say, not changing jobs, but after a few years I'm in some different setup. So I think that the jobs as such and the culture around it changed. So now people are not only, and this is me defending actually the job culture, um, it's not only about what you have in your 9 to 5. It's actually about other let's say impressions or situations around you and in the world where you are, which is affecting your work balance as well. And therefore it is, how can I say, reflecting in that way that people are getting more and more burned out. Unfortunately, I don't think that the applications will be able to fully solve that problem. What we can do is try to always affect our micro world, meaning you can live your life properly, you can affect some people around you, you can set an example, you can help your fellow neighbor, brother, sister, husband, and so on. But we cannot fight the battles of the whole world. And in that way, maybe there will be a gratification in those small things that we are doing around us that will ultimately create this bigger chain of event and maybe lead us all to a healthy environment. But it's not only job. I would say, anymore, nor a task and a workload. It's actually something else that is keeping us all very, very burdened. And it's normal. We are only humans.
So, out of this answer of yours, I would like to ask two questions. So, first is like, as you said, that, our parents or, the previous generation, they used to be in a job for a longer note. However, if you notice, or you must have noticed around nowadays, people tend to change their job within 2 to 3 years. Even though the applications or the work is same, suppose in company A or company B, slight few changes are there, additional changes. So what is the thing which is attracting one person from one place to another place? Is it only work or something else?
So I would say that new generations, I'm a millennial, very proud of that. But Gen Z, for example, I think Richa, you are Gen Z.
No,
So
I'm millennial.
Gen Z actually have this maybe even more healthier approach to overall to life, to what you will do today or tomorrow. They are more demanding when it comes to their managers, and they are constantly asking where I will go or I will be in 3 years' time, and so on and so on. But also, I don't want to constantly provide some kind of relativism. But by chance, I worked for these big companies, like, where you can actually meet people who are there for 10, 15, 20 years. Average tenure is 5+ years, even if you check like on LinkedIn or any kind of data. So I would say that importance of culture in one company is of utmost and critical impact here, because I always like to say that in both of these companies, and it's not about me, whomever you pick and choose, you can go grab a coffee, spend some quality time together, get some meaningful conversation. So it's very healthy culture within. When you go step back, you will see that HR and the PNC, they are doing phenomenal job of finding the proper candidate. So they have their own, how can I say, metrics by which they're trying to find the proper fit. So I would say that from one company to another, that can vary. It's absolutely fine to change a job where you are not fully, how can I say, finding yourself. Ultimately, who am I to talk about that, or asking for some kind of retention beyond any boundary, when I was first guy to experience different side of things. Ultimately, in some way, when you change, you progress much faster than in some companies which are not providing maybe suitable ladder to climb on from 1 month to another, from 1 year to another, no clarity on where you will be in a few years' time. So it is from one company to another, from one PNC to another. There are good examples, there are really bad examples. What I would like to say is, don't wait. Keep always open door. Don't, like, just, how can I say, try to close the door of the place where you are leaving and going on a bad note. Because especially in digital, and we are mainly talking here about digital, believe it or not, digital world is very, very small. And as you grow, you see how small it gets. So on a first meeting in a new company, out of 7 people, I already knew 4. It was a completely different country. I mean, we here, we are also talking on different continents currently, trying to connect the dots, which are ultimately the same dots. And I would say that there are similarities, but there are personal aspirations, and I always support people. They know best because it comes from internal, and this is where company can only contribute and try to provide a good environment. But if you don't see yourself there, it's completely fine to go.
And about the second question, like we want to know how organizes your work. Definitely, like you are working with big brands, you have your personal setup as well to take care of. So how the resilience is built up with you when you have to organize your work with all these applications, with all these changes, with the generational changes, like definitely there are a lot of generation who is working around with you. So how you are building up your resilience?
So I would go one step back to try to address this. Um, it's all about the prioritization ultimately. So, like I said, we are all human. We don't need to be reminded of that. And I think that many people struggle actually to prioritize stuff, to recognize what is impactful, what is not impactful. I don't want to use very simple examples like out of five staff, two staff are 80% of the impact, so you should focus on those two. It's not like that. It's much more complex, and I fully understand why people are also confused. I find it hard, especially in those cases where you have, let's say, sudden workload increase. That means, oh, but that was a job for 1.5 or two people. Now I'm expected to do the same. How I approach this. So you're not expected to do the same. You are one. You are expected to do, let's say, your best. And you are recognized as someone who is able to untangle all the unnecessary stuff or the boring tasks from those meaningful ones. So we are not working in industries, and I'm repeating once more, we are here addressing digital. So in a digital era, it's about working smarter, not harder, not longer, not keeping yourself busy, looking busy. You know those psychological tricks. If you walk in the office very fast, people will not people will
Yes.
not stop you to ask you because they will think, oh, you are so busy. So all that aside, it's all about prioritization. And let's say if your manager recognized, or there is a reorg, or there is a change in the expectation of the role itself, don't consider that you are expected to continue working in exactly the same engagement like before when you were working on a particular scope, which is now different, bigger, more flat, and so on. No, it's actually up to you now that because you are human with limited resources and limited time, that you can focus on resolving that. This is where you should provide that, how can I say, put that personal touch and reorganize stuff. So this is how I see it. You should prioritize based on impact and try to work smarter using different tools, especially now with AI. I think that we have this buffer zone of 1 to 2 years time where people will have some tools available, but not have actual pressure because the AI is not implemented into the ways of working yet to that extent. So there is a buffer to find some time for creativity when it comes to handling that. But yes, I always try to have yes mindset when it comes to responding to my vertical, if that makes sense. Meaning, whatever you put in front of me, I still very much have like 8 hours, and within my skill set, I will try to organize the work to the best of my abilities. But I will never go and say, oh, but now this is 200% or 300% workload. So that would be my take.
Okay, great. So coming to the work ethics which you follow, and nowadays like everybody is working. Earlier we had like a set age that post our like graduation or post graduation. People used to come in the workforce. Now from the college only, they are doing like education. They are coming in corporate. They are working as well. So what do you think that like we are following a work culture? A set defined work culture, which we are doing definitely, but there is no question asked about it, like why we are doing so. It's like there's a set work idea which is given and people are following it, which is not really the fact. They can definitely go for a change, or they can question about change. So what is your point of view on this?
A lot of stuff changed in the past, let's say 30 years or so. So I still very much remember when I was little, and I would be buying like 5 hours of internet dial up, and then your father would be picking up the phone, and your connection would be broken down. So I would say that technology changes much faster and continues to change much faster than we are able to change our expectations or our archetypes in how we do stuff, how we consider a job, how we, from where we work, you know, did we really needed like a COVID and a disaster of that size to understand that we can, work from home or work from different locations or have this podcast, from one continent to another? So
Yes.
maybe not really, but those kind of big changes, like the technology evolution, are affecting us to that extent that we now see big disparity between what maybe the modern job or a workplace should be. Great coffee machine, massage room, multi-faith room, all this big terrace. If you don't have that, I'm not joining your company. So I would say that we should all be starting to have more faith in something which is what we find pleasant as an expectation, rather than expecting, how can I say, that the whole world changes, those old managerial structures, and understand that. So I think the Gen Z here, and especially young, talented people, are onto something, meaning they grew with technology. So for them, you need to provide more. And I think that this is really helping us as well. Me, a dinosaur, in this whole thing, is helping me as well, because then a company is investing more to acquire those kind of talent. So we also end up with the great coffee machines, massage rooms, and all that. And then we see that there is more to work. Than simple burden 9 to 5. And I'm coming from ex-socialist country, brutalism architecture, everything super pragmatic. No time to think on architecture and how it looks, how it feels. It's more about being very practical. So I think that now this global move and the technology evolution is actually helping us all, because many companies, all companies nowadays, are trying to accommodate. And I think that we just need to continue with that silent pressure, if that makes sense. That will help us, all generations and new generations as well.
Since you're based in London and you've been to India recently, and so what, like, can you tell us what are the technology differences you have seen starting from your college days till now? Like, starting, like in India, we had this landline, cell phone, a lot of changes were there. So, what is the difference you did notice?
So that question is a trap from angle of, I'm not one of those guys who will say that London is much more advanced, if that makes sense. I fully understand, and I know examples how in India in few minutes you can get a delivery to your doorstep and so on and so on. So I would say that uh, both have different kind of maybe regulatory ecosystems. And to be quite honest, especially now in AI era, if you compare it with the US and how US and Silicon Valley is handling AI stuff versus Europe and ultimately UK, you'll see big difference. So UK is all about regulations. So we first set the rules of the game and then we play. While you have, let's say, different countries like US who are there to experiment and maybe lead in the whole area, meaning they will be 3 steps ahead. But that's the risk. That's the risk. Are you willing to accept that there is not maybe good enough wireframe of rules and regulations before you step into something? Or you will be very much interested to protect the data, to protect the current ecosystem, and so on and so on. We had countries which had digital AI ministers, but then they needed to shut them down. So, to be quite honest, I think, and I have strong belief that regulation should follow at the same pace. So maybe some kind of optimization can be done there, but Also, when it comes to India, I think that India is booming, very, very country in a developing mode, but still very much in touch with the whole evolution of technology. And this, I mean, for myself, coming also from a small European country, but ultimately my whole path and the path of my colleagues, my friends from Serbia as well, we all know English, very well capable in different digital technologies. So use that to your advantage, like you are. I think that's the way ahead because European countries very much still need help. US companies still need a lot of help, and I think that this is an opportunity for all the smaller countries to lean. But also considering that the digital and for digital and the knowledge is everywhere nowadays, you can simply rely on zero budget, but 100% output when it comes to having and building a professional in any of the countries which are not, how can I say, maybe on the same historic level or the budget level, like let's say UK.
Okay. So one last question, and on this answer of yours. So nowadays we see that companies are introducing gym, play area, and a lot of good activities where employees can definitely relax down and again restart their work. So what is the one advice which you suggest? Which companies can introduce so that employees are engaged. It could be maybe like nowadays companies are introducing match or the marathon to engage the employees and keep them healthy as well, physically, mentally. And now a lot of companies are focusing on the emotional balance as well. They are giving chances for the employees to come and take a session if they are feeling low. For working women, they are giving daycare in the office campus. A lot of things are changing which was not there back then. So what is the one thing which you can suggest, maybe with our podcast, the audience out there or the companies can maybe implement?
So very interesting take current company had is to introduce the multi-faith room. To be quite honest, that was not something I witnessed in the past, but that's already there. If that makes sense, so I'm just sharing it.
Yeah.
As for what I would like to have, and I will not focus so much on gym and all those
Yeah.
coffee machines, because I think companies are already investing a lot in that area. Having some kind of a board game club or a movie night, a good comedy in these big like auditoriums where you had these serious meetings can probably also connect people. You can have a good laugh, but also ultimately through the good energy and the vibe that you will be sharing with your colleagues, you can ultimately start in your mind to think less of a scary office, culture because you had some fun moments in there as well.
Yeah, that's really a good, interesting note, and I'm definitely sure that with our podcast, our audience and of course the corporate companies will surely adapt to this. So hoping for this change. So thank you so much, Alex, for all this conversation and sharing your expertise. So third question, which I want to ask about the emails. Like nowadays, apart from emails, we have a lot of channels where we can interact with our employees, like quick note or a quick call. Even after having the quick note and quick call, like we tend to write emails, which of course the company has designed the mailbox to follow that. But there are like challenges where people avoid to write long emails and vice versa as well. So there are two categories: one who believes in writing emails and one is vice versa. So what is your say on this?
Very, very good question, Richa. I think that many employees across the globe have the similar, let's say, challenge because there is not one rule on how you should be, how can I say, structuring this. Same goes with, presentations. When you are learning about what is a good slide, someone will tell you three, four bullet points, and then the rest is verbal. but actually you have still those slides packed with information, very small font and all of that. So I would try to explain this from my personal experience and what I witnessed across the years, from very short emails that the vertical and the managers are sending, no, hi, dear, best regards, sincerely yours. It's just not like Nike do it, but basically very short ask, if that makes sense, or an assignment is given. From that to an email, which is super long email, few pages long email, very not readable, but is more there to make someone accountable, if that makes sense, because you sent all the information. So I think it's all connected and correlates with the culture of calls, having a lot of calls, back-to-back calls, no break between the calls, and let's say less and less face-to-face contact and less actual calls over phone. So when you send an email, the difference is that it's depersonalized to extent that you can be in your pajamas and be sending an email. So first, your preparation when it comes to your presence is completely different. So I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying it's easier to send an email than to be on a video call. Same goes with a phone call. It's much easier to send a message than to actually call and see someone. And I think a small digression, but I think that the dating culture nowadays suffers from that. You have a lot of these short messages or DMs on applications rather than, let's say, having a face-to-face contact with someone, which is frustrating for all sides, I guess. But if we go back to how I think this should be set as a process, as a training, as a learning for some of the people, and it's based on the impact and what you are trying to do. So in order to do stuff really fast, you need something short, very concise, very impactful. And I would go for a very short email, not those Copilot summaries that people are nowadays sending. Absolutely fine, but you can also ask a pilot to shorten it down. You can ask a pilot for 3, 4 main bullets and action points and then send that, not the recap of the 45 minutes call. So short email, very concise email as a contribution or a conclusion to a also very short and very impactful call, which you had with 1, 2, 3 max of your colleagues. So stop inviting people to a 20 people, 20 attendees calls. Stop sending emails to 20-something people. Try to find someone and agree with him when it comes to roles and responsibilities and who needs to do what. Do that research before sending something which will become a 6 months thread, complete confusion, a lot of time wasted for everyone, and a lot of emails in your inbox. So in very short terms, I prefer very short call, 5, 10, 15 minutes call with 2 or 3 people who are able to support, who are the side to action. And we would conclude meeting minutes or something with a very short email afterwards. And that's it. That's it. We avoid, and I like to think that we avoid all those hours wasted from different people's on those calls and in their inboxes having long unstructured emails.
So, adding a question on this note, it may sound a little bit controversial. Okay. So, sometimes people use emails, to have the conversation. And sometimes the mindset says that, they write the email to show it as a screenshot, to avoid any, clashes in future so that it does not come on them. I'm not, targeting any individual here, just a scenario. So, have you encountered such scenario, and do you think this mindset really works, or we can avoid this kind of mindset?
It doesn't work. So what I want to say is I consider that one of those like child sickness, something that you overcome in your career and your path. And I think that people should be focused more on actually having good connection with their colleagues rather than just trying to unintentionally or to protect themselves, throw someone under the train. So the situation, how I see it, and it happens all the time. We are all having, receiving dozens and dozens of emails. So you see different characteristics of different colleagues. But with good connection, proper, friendly communication, how it should be, uh, there is a clarity on who should be doing what, and there is no need to have anyone accountable when it comes to putting them on the spot in an email. Where email should play a role is when it comes to having something in written as a conclusion, as a action, because people now also go in a different direction. They would have many unnecessary Teams meetings, and then after a few months' time, they would be asking for someone to deliver some action. And he simply forgot, if that makes sense. So I don't think that's the right way to do. I think that the energy that we are introducing to write those emails should be well repurposed to having a proper, communication or connection or coffee or over chat or over call, and that would help everyone.
So, can I conclude with your answer that it is more about having a great bonding, transparency, trust? And if required,
Absolutely.
the emails can be written if we have finalized the policies or any sort of document.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a prerequisite. A good human connection, partnership. Uh, if you just consider it, let's say some big company, um, everyone there is a good professional. Everyone there fought their way to get into the company on that role. So for me, I always like to think of any colleague much higher then much lower, if that makes sense. So I always start with an ideal. An ideal is you are a professional. So if I send you something, yes, you will respond. If we agree on something, yes, you will do. Stuff like that. So when you come from that angle, I think that situation is then much different because immediately you know what you should do. And that means if the colleague is an ideal, to whom you aspire, for sure you won't be sending him that kind of email.
That really makes sense. And I'm sure, our audience, when they will hear our podcast, they will have a different, approach towards their team members, their colleagues. And definitely we could bring a change with this answer of yours. So, last question, Alex. What is the work culture and the work ethics which people are definitely doing, but they are not believing in it? They're just doing for the namesake and they're just ending up the day on a maybe good or bad note mentally, but they're not happy doing that.
Yeah, so I think that there is this like elephant in the room in a lot of these ecosystems where the visible effort is perceived as something bigger than the actual impact. So let me try to explain it. So from the rule, which is claiming that results matter, efficiency is valued, and smart prioritization is rewarded, you have this opposite thing on what actually gets noticed. So what gets noticed when someone stayed latest, in the office? I know some cultures also they have this expectation that you don't leave before your boss. So what that means, even if you don't have anything to do, you just sit there, play some video game, I guess, or chat GPT stuff. So you see the comparison between the two. Same thing goes with who replied to the message fastest. We perceive that he's omnipresent, that he's always there, that we can rely on him. And ultimately, who looked busiest? I think that we mentioned that example when you walk really fast in the office. So unfortunately for those people who walk fast, they are then also perceived in this group. But I think that we should all focus more on the actual impact in work. What is the result? What is the goal that we are trying to achieve? How we are measuring it? What is the data backing that up? Rather than create this image of ourselves that we are busy, that we are constantly there, that we are, always in some kind of mode. And I think that when we remove all that like facade, we will actually have much healthier environments in different ecosystems because, like I said, if you approach to your colleague as an ideal of what a colleague is, you will stop also trying to, in some extent, mask yourself and present yourself different. So we are all sharing the same goals, especially in the same department and so on. And I think that's the one of the areas where we think some behaviors are maybe normal or should be enticed, expanded even more. But actually, it's the opposite, and we miss the point on what is and what should be in our focus.
So, what is the one, advice? I'm not sure if advice is the heavy word used here, but you can please correct me if I'm going wrong. So, what is the one advice you can give to the leadership who, sometime, of course, definitely what is seen is valued. There's a saying that what is seen is valued. So if they see that, okay, the employee is, replying at 9 o'clock in the night on some particular group or replying to the emails, the visibility is there. Whereas a person who is sitting in the, background, you can say, and just working, delivering the same 100% effort, but still the person who is, seen is valued more compared to the other person. So what is the one advice you want to give to the leadership so that, they can change? I'm not saying that leadership is not doing, but still we have some ratio, which needs to be aligned and come on the same scale. So what advice you want to give to those leadership? Definitely.
So I'm of strong belief that fake it till you make it is not true. So you cannot fake it forever. You can fake it to a certain point in time, but ultimately you will still be excluded, if that makes sense. So what I'm trying to say is, in my career for last decade or so, I had great managers. Maybe I was just lucky. Great managers. All of them were able to see through these kind of behaviors. So what I'm trying to say is, if you have a manager and in his team 10 people and 8 people are all about providing that kind of sense of busyness, visibility, responsiveness, constantly on, sending emails 9 p.m. and all of that, those managers would be seeing through. Because for all those 10 people, the goal is the same. We need to deliver this project by that date, and these are your roles and responsibilities, these are your roles and responsibilities. Meaning they were not thinking very high of that kind of approach. And I like to think that you can fake it until certain point in time. Great managers will always see it through. Don't do it. Don't do it. Stay focused on the actual delivery. It's not about, how can I say, companies are not ever removing people who are trying, who are failing, who are constantly starting from scratch. They are actually trying to create great teams, but maybe by removing, let's say, toxic people, if that makes sense. So I'm of strong belief that you cannot fake by using these kind of behaviors in front of a great leadership. And in many companies, great leadership is there. It's up to the, how can I say, the overall ecosystem to support that by culture, by constant learning, and so on. But maybe I had only great experiences. This is my take. Try not to use deception, or don't think that those kind of behaviors are perceived really well. Ultimately, vertical is interested about the project and delivery and the human side of things. They will not be impressed.
Yeah, right. So thank you so much, Alex, for sharing all your experience, expertise, your journey. And definitely, I'm sure that with our podcast episode, our audience will have a takeaway from this episode where we have talked about aligning with your applications, organizing your work, and getting your work visibility with your managers, and having a good networking with your team members, and have a great bonding. So work is different, but networking and bonding is something which goes a long way. So thank you so much once again for agreeing for this show, and looking forward to have more episodes for you in the future. Any
Okay.
feedback you want to share from your end, and we'll have a wrap for this episode.
Thank you so much, Richa, for having me, and thank you for the team in backend, the awesome guys who are doing this production. So it was a bit early here for me, but I'm very energized now, and I'm hoping that some of the, let's say, my takes would be valuable to someone. So very much happy to be here with you, to be able to share a few words, and looking forward to our collaboration in the future. All the best.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much, Alex. See you at the other end of the world. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. Take care. Bye bye.